Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really powerful new blueprint for school leadership. The big idea here is that the deepest crises in our schools, the ones we talk about all the time, they aren't really about funding or policy. They're about a single hidden tension. And there might be a new way of thinking that can finally resolve it. All right, let's get into it. When you look at schools, you see all these different problems. Chronic absenteeism over here, classroom conflicts over there. It's so easy to see them as separate fires that need to be put out. But what if they're not? The research we're exploring today makes a bold claim. These are all just symptoms of one much deeper crisis, a fundamental breakdown in how we even think about leadership itself. So really, why are our schools in crisis? We hear the usual answers, right? Not enough funding, the wrong policies, changing standards. But this research suggests we might be missing the real story. The problem isn't just about resources. It's about this philosophical tug-of-war happening at the very heart of our schools. And it's something traditional leadership models just haven't been able to fix. When you look at the data, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. Okay, check out this number, 73%. What's that? Well, it's staggering. In urban high schools, 73% of serious disciplinary issues boil down to one single conflict, the clash between a student's need for individual expression and the school's need for community order. And you see that exact same tension pop up with absenteeism. 64% of students who are chronically absent from school report feeling this huge disconnect between who they are as a person and the culture of the school. They just feel like they don't fit in. The whole post-pandemic world just threw gasoline on this fire. You see, schools that really struggled to balance the new freedom of remote learning with a genuine sense of community, they saw a 47% spike in student disengagement. This is not a coincidence, folks. It's a pattern. And this pattern points us directly to the real root of the crisis. All of these things, discipline, attendance, engagement, they all trace back to one core tension. This constant push and pull between our need for individual autonomy and our need for social solidarity. Now, the source paper gives this a fancy name, the autonomy-solidarity dialectic. I know, it's a mouthful. But all it really means is this central challenge every leader faces. How in the world do you encourage a person's independence and their freedom to be themselves, that's their autonomy, while also building that sense of community, that shared responsibility that makes a group strong? That's solidarity. For way too long, our leadership models have treated this like a zero-sum game. Like a seesaw. You can either lift up individual freedom or you can have community well-being, but you can't have both at the same time. This forces leaders into a totally false choice, and it creates these environments where one value always gets sacrificed for the other. And as we just saw with the data, that's exactly where the crises start. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if there's another way? This is where the source material gets really exciting. It introduces this innovative solution called a pluriversal leadership framework. And instead of forcing a choice between autonomy and solidarity, it says, let's integrate them. Pluriversal. It sounds complex, but the idea is actually beautiful and simple. It means drawing wisdom from many worlds. It's an approach that says there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Instead, it weaves together insights from all these different philosophical traditions to find a much more holistic, a much more balanced path forward. For example, it pulls from the African philosophy of Ubuntu, which gives us this incredibly powerful idea, I am because we are. Think about that. It teaches that my individual identity isn't separate from the community. It's actually shaped by my connection to it. My ability to thrive depends on our ability to thrive. It's just a perfect expression of solidarity. Now, to balance that, it pulls from a totally different tradition, Kantian ethics from the West. This tradition champions the profound dignity of the individual. It argues that every single person must be treated as an end in themselves, never just as a tool to get something else. This is the absolute bedrock of autonomy. And the framework doesn't stop there. It weaves in wisdom from all over the globe. It takes cues from Confucian ethics on our duties to each other, from Cherokee wisdom about our connection to the world, and from Western sociology on how we build societies that are both free and fair. The goal isn't just to make a list, it's to synthesize the shared wisdom on how we balance what I need with what we need. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? Deep philosophy, big ideas, but does it actually work in the real world? The answer is a resounding yes. When schools start applying these balanced principles, they see real, tangible, measurable change. So, one key strategy is using restorative justice. Now, instead of just punishing a student for breaking a rule, this approach focuses on repairing the harm that was done to the community, while also making sure the individual is held accountable. See how that works? It perfectly balances individual responsibility with community healing. And the results? They're powerful. Schools that implement these kinds of balanced approaches have seen a 42% reduction in disciplinary incidents. It works because it's not just putting a band-aid on the behavior, it's addressing that root tension we've been talking about. Here's another amazing strategy: creating culturally responsive programs. These are initiatives that don't just tolerate, but actively celebrate the individual cultural identities of every single student. And, at the same time, they use those unique identities to build stronger, shared bonds across the whole school. And look at the impact this has on attendance. In schools that adopted this approach, there was a 31% improvement in attendance rates among students who used to be totally disengaged. It's so simple when you think about it. When students feel seen as individuals and feel like they're part of the group, they actually want to show up. So ultimately, what this framework offers is more than just a few good ideas. The source material lays out a clear, actionable blueprint for any leader who truly wants to transform their school, or really any institution. And this blueprint makes it crystal clear that real change demands a holistic approach. You have to look at these 6 key areas. We're talking about changing everything from the school's daily culture and how we train our teachers, all the way to what's in the curriculum and how we engage the community. You can't just change one piece of the puzzle. You have to shift the entire system toward this new model of balance. In the end, this whole framework really challenges an idea of leadership that's been around for centuries. We've so often seen leadership as a practice of management, of control. But what if that's just wrong? What if the true art of leadership isn't about imposing a single vision from the top down, but about skillfully and wisely balancing the world of the individual with the world of the community, so that both can truly thrive together?